You know, gardens and yards were never just places to grow food or rest the eye. Across Europe, Asia, and the Americas, they served as silent vaults. Soil protected wealth when walls failed. This practice shows up pretty much wherever war, theft, and sudden flight threaten survival. So, just picture a small yard behind a stone house. The ground looks ordinary. Herbs sway, chickens scratch. But beneath that calm surface sits a sealed clay pot. Inside are coins wrapped in cloth. The earth keeps temperature steady, moisture stays low. Metal survives decades totally unseen. Treasure hiding in soil really surged during invasions. Roman households buried silver near kitchens and wells. Anglo-Saxon hoards appear along fence lines. Viking-era farmers favored garden edges, where daily foot traffic erased any signs of digging. Location mattered more than depth, honestly. Most caches sat less than 2 feet below ground. Deeper holes took time and left traces. Shallow burial allowed quick recovery. Roots disguised disturbed soil within weeks. Garden beds offered natural cover. Turning soil was routine, so a fresh patch raised no suspicion at all. Seeds planted above a cache locked it in place, and pulling crops later revealed nothing unusual. Yards used patterns. Treasures were often aligned with fixed landmarks, like a third step from the apple tree, or directly beneath the rain drip of a roof corner. Sometimes it was under the largest flat stone near the gate. Memory replaced maps. Sound mattered. Digging happened during rain or wind, and spades struck soil softly. Stones were lifted by hand. Night work avoided witnesses, and dogs were kept close to mask noise. Containers reveal intent. Ceramic jars dominated early periods. They resisted rot and pests. Later, iron boxes appear, wrapped in pitch-soaked cloth. Wax-sealed lids. Leather pouches served short-term needs. Coins were not loose, they were stacked. Cloth separated layers to prevent rubbing. Gold sat above silver. Copper stayed out due to corrosion. Some hoards include jewelry folded tight to reduce space. Yards near wells held value. Wells drew daily visits. Owners checked markers often. A loose stone or worn plank signaled position. Water sources also deterred casual digging by outsiders. Fruit trees played a major role, you know. Planting a sapling after burial created a living marker. Those roots anchored memory. But cutting the tree later on meant loss of location, which explains why some hoards were never recovered. Fence posts hid wealth, believe it or not. Posts required deep holes, and filling them concealed disturbed soil. Removing a post later allowed access. That's why I reckon many medieval finds appear beside decayed wood stains. Kitchen gardens ranked highest for concealment. All that constant activity just erased any signs. Visitors avoided trampling the beds, and the smell of compost masked fresh earth. Chickens scratching around completed the illusion, making it all but impossible to spot. So, in urban yards, folks usually followed rules. Courtyards often hid little caches beneath the drains, you know. Stone channels could be lifted pretty easily, and when you put the stones back, well, they left no mark at all. Town finds often sit right under thresholds where the owners would cross every single day. Treasure maps, honestly, were pretty rare. Most of the time, knowledge was just passed along by word of mouth. Usually only one person held the secret, and if they died, well, the location was lost. That's why, even after danger had passed, that wealth often stayed buried for years. War, as tough as it is, really pushed folks to innovate. During the 30 Years' War, German farmers would bury their tools and coins together. Nowadays, metal detectors tend to find these clusters. Those buried tools would mislead looters, making them think the sites were just plain poor. Sound deception really mattered, you know. Broken pottery scattered above caches fooled thieves. making them think there had already been some looting. This clever trick pops up in Ottoman gardens and colonial American yards, showing just how far folks would go to protect their treasures. American settlers, well, they copied a lot of European habits. During those tough frontier raids, families would bury coins near their smokehouses. The ash from the smokehouse masked any scent and color changes, so even dogs couldn't detect a thing. It was a pretty smart move, honestly. Civil War periods, they show these big spikes in hidden treasures. English Civil War hoards, for example, often cluster near manor gardens. Owners fled in a hurry, and those gardens offered a last-minute spot to hide valuables without having to risk the open fields, which were usually watched by soldiers. You know, season really affected strategy. In the spring, planting crops actually helped hide all that activity, but come autumn, there was a real risk of getting exposed, and when the ground froze, well, digging just wasn't possible, so folks had to find ways to conceal things indoors. Sadly, a whole lot of winter hoards ended up lost forever. Markers, they were real subtle. Sometimes it was just a bent nail or maybe some carved initials on a stone. Folks even used patterned brick placement. Thing is, only the owner truly understood what it meant. To outsiders, it just looked like clutter, nothing special at all. Getting it back took patience, for sure. Owners would wait for months. They'd let the soil settle, let the plants grow over. Only then did they start to dig. Trying to recover it too quick, well, that just risked being noticed by the neighbors. Modern archaeology, reads these signs. Soil color changes, root growth patterns, artifact clustering. Each one tells a story of fear and planning. For survivalists, the lesson is clear. Concealment works best where activity is normal. Memory must be reinforced, and, well, landmarks must endure. Imagine standing in your own yard. Every step could hide history. Ordinary ground, believe it or not, protected extraordinary value. The ground keeps secrets longer than walls ever could. Gardens outlast chaos. They wait. So remember this when thinking about legacy and survival. What you hide matters less than how you hide it. Visuals, they really do deepen understanding. Imagine a spade entering soil near herbs, then a close-up on hands smoothing earth. Picture rain falling, covering sound. These images, well, they mirror historical practice. Smell-guided decisions, Fresh earth smells sharp, while compost, well, it dulls it. Manure piles near beds hid scent, and owners timed burial after spreading waste. Neighbors noticed nothing. Texture mattered, honestly. Sandy soil drained water and clay held moisture. Wealth followed sand, that's for sure. Coastal gardens protected coins better than heavy inland clay. Drainage lines served as guides. Stone channels led eyes away, and lifting one slab revealed space beneath. Replacing it locked the secret. Animal behavior helped, Pigs rooted everywhere, so disturbed soil drew no notice at all. Chickens scratched daily, and their tracks erased footprints. Color was watched carefully. Dark soil over light signaled digging, so gardeners mixed layers carefully. Leaves were scattered to blend tones. Fireplaces influenced yards in a big way. Ash pits outside kitchens hid items briefly, and cooling ash preserved metal. Many colonial finds sit in ash layers. Religious spaces really mattered. Shrines and gardens, they marked safe ground. Thieves, well, they avoided them. Owners, they trusted reverence as their defense. In Asia, courtyard gardens often hid silver beneath stepping stones. Those stones got shifted during maintenance, which kind of normalized the movement. Recovery left no trace at all. Japanese households, they sure favored bamboo groves. Hollow stems were used to store documents, and the bases, well, they hid coins. That fast growth, it concealed any changes real quick. In China, scholar gardens used rockeries. Cavities held sealed boxes, Stones were heavy and fixed in place. Moving them required knowledge. Middle Eastern yards used date palms. Their deep roots marked locations. Irrigation channels, well, they masked digging. Sound again really mattered. Wooden tools reduced noise. Metal struck only at depth. This detail actually appears in period manuals. Children were kept unaware. Play revealed secrets. Silence protected families. Many hordes vanished when elders died. Show a child running past a garden bed, cut to soil undisturbed. Weather signs helped. Heavy dew softened ground. Early dawn work left fewer marks. Owners watched skies closely. Legal risk mattered, Authorities seized wealth and burial avoided confiscation. Gardens offered plausible denial. Gardens near roads were avoided since foot traffic increased risk. Inner yards ranked safest. Dogs guarded while digging. Their presence looked normal, and barking masked sound. Lighting was minimal. Moonlight sufficed. Lanterns drew eyes. Shadows hid movement. Time pressure shaped choices. Short digging favored known spots. Panic led to errors. Lost hordes often show rushed placement. Archaeologists find fingerprints in clay seals. Human touch survives centuries. Fear froze in mud. Now, for modern viewers, it's important to recreate this safely. Use containers, y'all. Make sure to choose stable soil and mark the spot with features that will last. You shouldn't rely on memory alone. Go ahead and write clues, maybe disguised as chores. Songs often held directions, and rhythm preserved the steps. Picture hands tying knots in a rope. Each knot, well, that equals a step. Gardens taught patience. Wealth waited underground. Owners learned restraint. This practice connects past to present. Land remains constant while lives change. The yard becomes a witness. It watches generations. Standing still, it protects motionless value. History hides under your feet. Stay curious, stay observant. Final image, a slow pan across an empty yard at dusk. Crickets sound, wind moves leaves. Nothing looks hidden. Everything could be. This silence explains survival. When danger passed, some returned. Many did not. Soil kept promises without judgment. Gardens outlived owners. Wealth slept while history burned. This truth humbles modern eyes. The ground remembers even when people forget. Walk carefully. Respect the land. Stories remain below, waiting for hands patient enough to listen. Every step is an archive sealed by time and choice. Silence protects value best, always. If this reshaped your sense of place, subscribe to Life and Legacy. Share this with someone who tends the soil.